Had to start with a deep breath because it has been quite some time since I've been here. Oh my gosh. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the EarthtonesGirl channel. My name is Denise, and I think this is episode 86. It's so funny when I say that because there's so many episodes, there's so many videos on this channel, but technically podcast episodes, we're only up to 86, but that's okay. Hello, hello, hello to returning viewers. Welcome back. If you are new to the channel, there are quite a few new subscribers. A big warm welcome. I am so happy that you are here. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's been a while since I've been here, 3 months actually, and I was trying to figure out, I can't tell you how many times I've stopped and started this video and tried to figure out what to say, what to share, and you know, it doesn't really matter why I haven't been here. The fact is I'm here now and I'm back and I'm so happy to be with you all. As I was setting up my camera, I was getting really excited and checking the lighting and all of that. And I just realized how much I've really missed being here. And again, how happy I am to be back. Okay, so I could ramble on and on and on about where I've been, and it's been summer. It's been summer vacation. In my last episode, I announced the release of my Fearless DK Weight sock pattern, and a huge thank you to everyone who has purchased a copy. Thank you so much. The pattern is doing really well. I'm seeing lots and lots of pairs of DK Weight socks on Instagram, and people have emailed me pictures. If you are not on on Instagram, please feel free to send me an email. I'd love to see your, you can include pictures and I'd love to see your socks. So that has been really successful and I'm really excited. And aside from summer vacation stuff, just time with family, time on the beach, just time relaxing. And what else have I've been working on a really big project that I'm not quite ready to share yet, but there's going to be a lot of this going forward. So stay tuned for more details on that, but not quite yet. And what else have I been doing? Checking my notes and oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank. You know, I'm going to leave this in. I could edit this out, but I'm not going to. I'm really rusty. So yes, really big project. And I've also been working on a new pattern that I'm hoping will be released in October. Fingers crossed for that. It is a sock related pattern. I will say that, but it's something that it's sort of been in the works for years, and it's something I keep talking about and then I don't know if I genuinely forget about it or what, but the point is, rather than ramble and not be specific, because that's annoying, I'm hoping that it is released in October, so stay tuned. I think it will be a really big game changer and help for a lot of sock knitters out there, so hang tight for that. In the meantime, there's been some knitting, not as much as I would, well, there's been a lot of sample knitting, but not as much knitting as I would have liked because I do have to be honest, and I don't think I've talked about this yet on the channel, something else that's been going on the last few months. I was diagnosed with, and that sounds so like I've got 3 minutes to live, but I was diagnosed with basal thumb arthritis in this thumb. And again, please, you know, not that you can actually stop me, but I hope I haven't talked about this yet. I don't think I have. I made mention of some thumb pain in a past episode, and one of the viewers here left a comment that they had basal thumb arthritis, and the way they described their symptoms sounded very similar to mine, and I just said, you know what? Sorry, I'm just looking at my cell phone. Anyway, sounded very similar to mine. So I went to the doctor and then ended up going to an occupational therapist. And I do have arthritis in this joint. So what does that mean exactly? It has gotten a lot better, much, 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 much better. I have been in therapy for it. I've been seeing an occupational therapist. I do wear a brace at night, and I wear one sometimes during the day, depending on level of pain and discomfort. But it's actually been doing really well. There's some exercises that the OT gave me. I've had strengthening putty that I use, or I have strengthening putty that I use. The braces have been hugely helpful. And honestly, I have rested my hands and not been knitting as much, just to give that thumb a little bit of a break. And not that once you've got arthritis, it doesn't really go away, but you can decrease the symptoms, you can rest your hands. There's ways to hugely decrease the pain aside from taking medication. And I really didn't want to just, pop Advil all the time or painkillers, because that's just masking the problem. And if I knit through that mask, then I could be causing more injury. So anyway, it's been a really, really big help. You know what? I'm going to pause and just show you the brace that I've been using, because it really, this is not medical advice. I am not suggesting anything. I was a massage therapist in my past life, so I think having that in the back of my mind and knowing how to use my hands, I think that's why the injury isn't any worse and why it's improved so much in the last few months. So I'm going to pause for a quick sec, and I'm going to go grab the brace. I wasn't really going to go into tons of detail about this, but I do think it's important as knitters, crocheters, makers, and we're using our hands all the time. This may be helpful to someone out there. Again, not as medical advice, but just as like, oh, wait, I've been feeling the same thing. So, or maybe this is happening to me, so let me try these things. I am so, so grateful. And I don't remember her name. I'll try to put it on the screen if I can. I know I wrote it down somewhere, but I'll try to add her name to the screen. Just a huge thank you for mentioning that. I think eventually I would have gotten there, but that prompt made me get there sooner. So I'm really grateful. So these are the two braces that I use. This one rolls out like this, and it fits on my thumb. And I wrap this around, and that's what that looks like. Wait, is that focusing a little bit? There we go. Maybe not. Okay, it's not focusing for me, but this is what it looks like. And this is the one, so it fully supports, there's two little, I guess like rods in here, and this fully supports my thumb. And I sleep in this one at night. I also have some extra wrist support with this one. And this is really great. I ordered this from Amazon. And the other one that I use is, this thing is miraculous. It really is. Funny enough, the story behind this, I actually saw a narrator, Imogen Church, that I follow online. I follow on Instagram. She was wearing this, this brace in one of her reels, and I saw it and I thought, that looks like it would be really helpful. And I wasn't sure what it was. And then when I went to my, I took a screenshot of it. When I went to my OT, she mentioned it, and it turned out to be the same thing. So this is the other brace. There, oh, there it is. Is that gonna focus? Oh my gosh, how annoying. All right, it's not focusing, but okay, if I pull back here, you can see it. So this is what it looks like. And this brand is called a Push. Thumb brace, P-U-S-H, and it really, somebody described it in the description when I was purchasing it, described it as a hug for your thumb, and that is exactly what it feels like. It is so minimalist, but it gives your thumb, and there's a brace in here, there's a big bar, or not a big bar, but there's a metal bar in here that you can squeeze a little bit, and it gives you just enough support, and it's absolutely fantastic. Okay, so here we go with the light. I didn't set up all my lighting equipment because I thought the light was enough coming in the window. Okay, it's great now. Okay, sun, please hold. Let's just keep going. So this is what I wear during the day. I can wear this pretty much all day. It's waterproof, very easy to clean and to wash, and I can actually knit with it on, which is really great too. I don't always, because sometimes right in the crease of my thumb can get a little tired, but wearing it during the day as well as the on at night has really helped a lot. So that has been another reason why there hasn't been as much knitting. So anyway, highly recommend this. Again, this is not medical advice, although I just said I recommend. It's if you are having trouble, check in with your doctor. It's been really, really helpful for me. And again, thank you to that viewer who mentioned it. So that's what's been happening with me. So all of that said, there has actually been knitting, and I have become rather obsessed with a particular sock pattern. I mentioned it an episode or so ago, but let's get into it now because, oh my gosh, there's so much to say. So let's get into that. So I first introduced you to this pattern. This is the Shorty heel tab pattern by Forest Lane Company. And I first introduced you to this pattern during the I Love Books and Sock Knitting Cal, which I can't wait to do again next year. And there's going to be so many fun new things. But anyway, we're not even talking about that yet. So this is the first pair that I knit. Absolutely love these. So many of you commented on these, and I had never knit a heel tab on a Shorty sock before and fell madly, utterly, completely in love with this pattern. It was so fantastic. And this first pair that I knit, I followed pretty much, I'm going to put one down, pretty much to the letter. My main change with this was the designer used German short rows and I substituted shadow wrap short rows. That was the difference. So why? Because I am not a big fan of German short rows at all. So I just thought, okay, use the short rows that I know. And that she has short rows in the heel tab. That's how the heel tab is formed. And her heel was a German short row heel. And I just did shadow wrap short rows for both. And then just changed color, and I did a little fading down here, which I had not done before. So lots of experimenting, really, really fun. Absolutely loved this pattern. And then I moved on and knit another pair. Now, this first pair has a short row heel. Granted, German short rows. The second pair that I knit, also during the Cal, I decided to experiment a bit. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while or following me on Instagram, you know that I live to learn new things and I am constantly experimenting. I always treat sock patterns like recipes, and why not add substitute cinnamon for nutmeg, or I don't know, ginger for something else. So I am always experimenting. So for the second pair, ta-da, here they are. For this pair, oh, and back to the pink, because I know I'm going to get this question. Don't worry, I will list all of the yarn and everything for you in the description box. These were made from minis, pink minis from my stash, so I don't have a name for these. Where are my notes? Hold on. This pair, let me see. Okay, so this particular colorway is called Country Club by Scrumptious Purl. That is this. And as you can see, for this pair, I did an Afterthought, or some of you may also come into the comments and correct me, a Forethought heel. I always learn that heel is an Afterthought. Many people say it's a Forethought because you know exactly when you're going to do it, as opposed to a true Afterthought where you're kind of trying to figure it out after you've completed the sock. That is the difference. For me, the two terms are interchangeable. Nothing to fight over. So anyway, continuing. I decided to do an Afterthought heel. Why? Mainly to maintain the stripe pattern, because I didn't want to interrupt it. This pair I knit, oh my gosh, what book was I listening to? The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. Kate Quinn? Yes, by Kate Quinn. And that I knit these for that book. And again, just substituted. So I knit the pattern, again, knit the pattern the same way, German short rows for the heel tab, and knit a very, very short leg, and then right where she would have put in the German short row heel, I plugged in, I put a little, I marked the 2 stitches, and then I later cut in the Afterthought heel. So that was pair number 2. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with these. They just fly off the needles. They're so quick. They're so fun. The fit is fantastic. And I remember someone on Instagram said that the back of her sock rides down in her shoes a little bit. Whenever she does a shorty sock, the back of the sock rides down. And was there a way to fix that? Now, yes, you can technically knit your cuff, knit your leg, and just before you start the heel, you could work maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 short rows, then start the actual heel. And that will give the back of the sock just a little bit more lift so that it won't ride down as much. It just gives you a little more length then in the back. That's the right word. So, but if you needed more specific information, a heel tab, a shorty sock with a heel tab absolutely solves that problem. These are so comfy to wear. They do not move in my shoes. Love them. So that was pair number 2. Let's keep going. So what I did for pair number 3, and I think this might have been the last pair that I knit for the cowl. There goes the sun again, but not going to worry about it. It's just big clouds passing over, and I'm recording a little later in the day. So this pair, oh, here it comes back. This pair, here it is again. Same sock pattern, but this time I did the I didn't do the cuff, the heel tab in a contrasting color, and I decided to do a heel flap and gusset. There we go. Why? Let's pull back so you can see them a little bit. Why? Because I can. Because again, I love experimenting, and I just wanted to see how the socks fit with the different heels. How do they feel on my feet? How do they fit? How do they wear in shoes? So I kept experimenting, and this pair, oh man, like a glove. If you go to my Instagram feed, if you are on Instagram, I think I did a little reel wearing these, and the fit is just so fantastic. I love them so, so, so much. I mean, look at how, oh my gosh, they're so cute. This was, so the book I was listening to with this was a man named Otto, a man called Otto, or Uwe. I think the two, Uwe is the Norwegian name for Otto. So anyway, that was the book that I listened to, and this colorway was named after, it was dyed by Legacy Fiber Arts and was dyed to match the cover of the book, the original art and cover of the book. And I think it's a spot-on match. So these are my Otto socks. So again, here is modification number 3 with a heel, flap, and gusset heel. Love them. And the contrasting toe. So this was a 50-gram sock set. So you get a 50-gram skein of the main color, and then a 20-gram skein. Oh, here comes the sun again. And then a 50-gram skein of the contrasting color. So that is, there we go. That is that, pair number 3. Let's keep going. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of questions about this, and I promise, I don't know when, but I do promise to go into more detail. This 4th attempt, I knit another pair. The 4th attempt, let me put them on the needles as I go. I decided to really step out of the box. Actually, I feel like I set the box on fire a little bit with this one. So what I did here was, okay, this pair, ta-da, this pair, also the yarn is by Legacy Fiber Arts. It is Golden Hour, and it is so beautiful. I love this colorway so much. Again, same pattern, shorty heel tab socks, but this time I knit them toe up. Started here and worked my way up to the heel tab. I'm going to pause and give you a minute to think about that. So why would I do that? Because I confess, you can make a note of this podcast episode. Here I am saying out loud, saying publicly that I really do want to get into toe-up socks a little bit more. They're still not, I don't think toe-up is ever going to be my go-to method. I just know that it's not. I still love a heel, a top down, not a heel, but a top down sock. It is, my brain is on autopilot. It's comforting. It's soothing. I know what I'm doing. I don't have to think. With toe up socks, I have to think. Not much more, but I do have to think. So, and there's a lot, I think there's more planning for me anyway that goes into a toe up sock. So for this pattern, I decided to give it a try and knit toe up. I have two issues with toe up socks. One is knitting the toe, getting the increases to match. Now, who's going to look at my foot that closely? Probably no one. But for me as the knitter and in the knitting process, I really wanted those toes to match. I'm going to pop this off and hopefully you can see it here. But again, I'm going to go into detail on this a little bit more because I was beyond excited when I learned how to do this. So I don't know if you can see. Give this a minute to, aha, there we go. There we go. So what I've done here, I did Judy's Magic Cast On to start the toe. And if you can see here, the increases perfectly match. It is a knit front and back and a, oh dear, what is it called? A slip knit slip. Slip knit slip? I'll put it on the screen for you. So basically it is, I've learned how to knit a perfect mirror image of a knit front and back. And, oh wait, did I write it down? Maybe I wrote it down. Hold on. Mods for the toe up. All right, I didn't write it down here, but again, I'll add it to the screen for you. I learned from Norman, who is Nimble Needles, that is his YouTube channel, and he has a toe up sock pattern, and I just looked up toe up socks on YouTube and saw his tutorial and saw him do this, hold on, it will focus, there we go. Saw him knit this perfect mirror image and just fell in love. Oh my gosh, not only is it beautiful, it's symmetrical, it's beautiful. It is also so fun to knit. I absolutely fell madly, madly in love. I really did. It was perfect. And I also love that Norman calls the toe, so when you're going this way, he calls it a little toe pocket, which I thought was adorable because it's a little toe pocket. So I used, and it's interesting. So there's very little in knitting. Sorry, a little earthquake there. I personally think that there's very little in knitting that is original to one designer. Yes, Judy's Magic Cast On is absolutely Judy's Magic Cast On. Jenny's Surprisingly Stretchy Bind Off belongs to Jenny. So yes, there are things that knitters along the years, over the years have created, but certain things like increases, decreases, short rows, things like that, I don't know how. And if someone out there does, please let me know. I think it's very, very hard, close to possibly, not impossible, but really, really, really a challenge to find the origins of these things, of these techniques. So for something like this, Norman of Nimble Needles was the first person that I saw use this technique. I'd never seen it before. I'd never seen that type of increase before. So a knit front and back is a right leaning increase, and the mirror image then would be a left leaning increase. And the way you have to knit it, again, it's so unique. Highly recommend looking that up. I will link to it down below. And I do want to do a tutorial for the cast on, because there's also a way to knit Judy's Magic Cast On, or how to do Judy's Magic Cast On, where you're not knitting into the back of the stitch in order to twist it. It's a slight modification, but I figured out how to do it for myself so that I can, once I've cast the stitches on, they are perfectly lined up on the needle, so I don't have to knit into the back of the stitch in order to correct the position of the front and back strand of the stitch. Does that make sense? So it sits the right way on the needle. And so after seeing this, I thought, okay, well, where did this come from? Let's go digging. And I actually pulled out what I call the Bible of Knitting, which is the Principles of Knitting by June Hemmons Hyatt. And there it was. The technique was right there in the book. The book is, I call it the Bible of Knitting because this book has got to be about this big. It's huge, this big giant hardback. I have an original copy, but it was reissued, I want to say several years ago. I don't know, 10, maybe 8, 7, 8, 10 years ago, somewhere in that range. And there were, I forget how many additional pages added and techniques added. So anyway, I found this increase in that book, madly in love with it, absolutely brilliant. I could go on and on and on. So let's keep talking. So anyway, I knit it toe up. So I started with my toe pocket, to quote Norman, knit my leg, and did the shadow wrap short row heel, which, I'm saying this out loud, I have answered this question. If I had $1 for every time I've answered this question, I could probably buy myself a house. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but I've answered this question a lot. Can the shadow wrap short row heel be knit toe up? Yes, it can. You do not have to modify the instructions. It can be knit exactly as is, toe up. Exactly as written. Just, if you're knitting toe up, just start the instructions and keep going. You do not have to modify it in any way. Again, yes, the shadow wrap short row heel can be knit toe up and top down. So I plugged it in, knit it toe up, and then worked on the leg, which is, I forget how many rounds, and then did the cuff, which took a minute to think it through, I'm not gonna lie. And what I had to do on the cuff, if you can see, I had to sew the cuff down as I went around. So there, I followed a tutorial for that as well. That was by the Chili Dog, how to sew in a hemmed cuff or sew down a hemmed cuff. I will link to that in the description box also. And was it tricky? Yes. Was it tricky because of this yarn? Yes. So I found myself sort of straying a little bit, but then I found a little trick. So I tried just kind of eyeballing it, lining it up, lining the cuff up with the leg of the sock as I went along. And I think I strayed one row up or one row down maybe once or twice in the sewing. But when I did it the second time, and I don't know which sock is first or second, doesn't matter. But when I did it the second time, what I did, instead of just eyeballing it, like I tacked it down, but instead of eyeballing it, I actually put bulb markers, stitch markers, every like 5 or 6 stitches all the way around in the row so that I would know exactly where to follow. That was a game changer for me. I think if I were doing this in a solid color, it would have been a lot easier. But then again, maybe not. My eye, for some reason, just couldn't focus and stay on the line. But adding the markers every 5 stitches, separating them every 5 stitches, kept me perfectly in line. And it went so much faster, so much faster. So did I love knitting them toe up? It was an experience. It was interesting. Do they fit beautifully? Yes, they do. Would I do them again toe up? I did find sewing the hem down much more, what's the word? Positive words. What's the word? Much more detailed. That's a better word. Much more detailed than going top down, because when you're going top down, you can knit the 2 stitches together. So you knit the stitch from the cuff with the stitch right on the leg of the sock. It goes so much quicker. But with the top down, again, you have to line everything up and then stitch it down. Is it worth the effort? Yes, it is absolutely worth it. Do the socks fit beautifully? Yes. I tried knitting them together the way that I would top down, and this area right in here, right at the cuff line there, was almost immovable. I couldn't even get the sock on my foot. It was just way too tight. So I took it out and I did it again. Now, I know some of you have like not issues, but like, oh my gosh, I don't want to rip it out. I don't want to do it. It's just a sock. It's worth it. It's 100% worth it. If you're not getting the effect that you want or the look that you want or the fit that you want, it is absolutely okay to just rip it out and start again. I don't have a problem doing that. Again, this sock was unwearable the first time I did it, and now I've got a pair that I love and I can wear, and they're great. So again, I will go into more detail because there's a sample of your foot that you can create with a piece of cardboard. I actually used a cereal box because the cardboard in the cereal box was really flexible and easy to cut. So I used a cereal box. It was Cocoa Pops. Does anybody remember that cereal? It's so incredible. Like, it hurts your teeth. It's so sweet, but it was so good. And I don't even remember why. But anyway, I made a model of my foot, and I'll go into that in detail as well in another episode. I made a model of my foot. So when I slipped the sock on, yes, I could have used a sock ruler, and that would have been great too, because I could mark on the sock ruler exactly where my heel line is. And I'll talk about this more. But I did that on the little model of my foot, and I just slipped the model, the little sample, why am I blanking on the word? You know what I mean? And mock-up of my foot into the sock. And once the foot reached that heel line on my little model, I knew that was where I was supposed to start working the shadow wrap heel. And the fit was just perfect. So yeah, these are so I've done this pattern. Let's grab one of each. I've now done this pattern. Whoops, my ends are showing. My slip is showing. I didn't weave in the ends on this one. Hang on, let's tuck them in here. Doop, doop, doop. So I have now done this pattern 4 times, 4 different ways. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta-da! 4 ways. And the fit is wonderful, and it was so much fun playing with this pattern. This is definitely going to be a go-to pattern for me. I love knitting it so much. I do love a regular ribbed cuff, don't get me wrong, but this is just really, really fun. It's just a good basic pattern to have in your back pocket. Someone asked, when I first showed these on Instagram, I also got the question multiple times, can I please do a tutorial with my modifications? I am talking through my modifications right now, and which is exactly what I did on Instagram. I don't want to go into too much detail about the pattern because even though it's a free pattern, it's intellectual property and it belongs to another designer. And I 150% respect that. She has video tutorials, so you can watch those. She has the pattern. You can just follow the pattern. This is a pretty simple pattern to modify, as you can see. So just have fun with it, everyone. That's about it. I will go into detail on the toe up because I'm explaining toe-up techniques, but I'm not really going into detail about her pattern specifically. But regarding these modifications, again, I did explain the different heels and everything. I just really feel it would be not fair to go into details on the pattern. So I will link to the pattern down below. You can go and have a look. And there we are. So, oh my gosh, that's been my sock knitting. I do have something else. This is sort of my end of the summer sock, and I'm going to pop that on the blocker, and I will show you in just a sec. So this is just, I was sort of up to my eyeballs with sample knitting and just wanted to knit something for myself, just a vanilla sock, something soothing and comforting. So I knit this sock, which I love so madly. I mean, these colors are just, oh my goodness. They are my colors, my colors. I love when color is colorful, but muted. Does that make sense? I love seeing colors, but bright colors are not for me personally. This is perfect for me. It's very, very colorful, but yet again, the colors seem a little muted. almost like smoky. Does that make sense? That's kind of how my eye registers these colors, as smoky. So this yarn is an 18 stripe repeat. So from here to here, the whole cuff, the whole leg, cuff and leg of the sock are 18 stripes. That is one full repeat of the colorway. And then from here to here, I think this is, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's 14. So I was just shy of another repeat on the foot. So that's 14 stripes on the foot and the full 18 on the leg. And this colorway is called Into the Woods by Mustache Yarn. Mustache Yarn is a huge favorite of mine. Her striping is just absolute, it's perfection. It's just beautiful. The yarn feels good. This colorways are gorgeous. So yeah. And what I did here for the heel, it is a short row heel with a small, with a gusset. So a short row heel with a gusset. There's a mini heel flap adjustment that Mina Phillip has in her pattern. After some more digging, I have seen people just refer to it as a short row heel with a gusset. So you can look at her pattern. You can look that name up on YouTube for a tutorial. But that is what I did just to give myself a little extra room in the instep. So, and I just wanted to use up a little more of this brown. And the yarn, the contrasting color, it's not showing up as a true brown here. It looks much, much darker, but this is Cordovan by Malabrigo Sock. And this particular version of Cordovan, this version of the colorway was discontinued years ago. They reissued it and they still do a Cordovan. I think it's Cordovan 2, or maybe it's still Cordovan, but it's darker. So this to me, when you see this in person, is chocolatey. It's very, very, it looks like a Hershey chocolate bar. To me, that's the exact color. But the reissue of the colorway looks more like if gray and brown had a baby, that would be the colorway, if that makes any sense. It's smokier, it's a slightly grayer brown, and I prefer this. And I remember years ago when I heard that it was being discontinued, and I lamented here on the channel, and people found it. They went to their local yarn shops. They're like, I found it, Denise, can I send you skeins? So I got I bought up as many as I could, and I had some amazing viewers send me skeins, which I was so, so grateful. It was just wonderful. So yeah, that is Into the Woods. I have already, where is it? Started the second, haven't gotten very far. Just started actually this morning, but there it is. So I've got two, is it gonna focus? Focus, focus, focus. Oh wait, nope, it's not focusing, that's okay. I started that this morning. I'm hoping to just work on that. That will be my Labor Day project. Oh, and I should have said this at the beginning of the episode. Today is Tuesday, August 27th. Yeah, so we will be going back to school. So that's it for sock knitting. That's what I've got for now. I do have some more sitting behind the camera that I will share with you in another episode. But I think that's it for my return to the channel regarding sock knitting. If you have any questions about anything I've talked about, as always, please leave them in the comments down below. I will answer as quickly as I can. Thank you so much, everybody. Right now, as I said, it is Tuesday the 27th. This coming weekend is Labor Day weekend here in the United States. It's the last big hurrah weekend for the summer. Technically, kids go back to school. A lot of kids have gone back to school already, which I personally don't understand because it's August and it's still summer. I know a lot of schools, especially in the South, get out a little earlier because of the heat, and then they go back in a little earlier. But to me, from about the middle of June until Labor Day, that is summer. You go to school in September. So my children are going to school in September. They start on the 5th. Yeah, and then there will be this wonderful return to routine, which many people don't like. They love the freedom of the summer. I find it scattering. It makes me feel very scattered. I love the routine. I have talked about this. I think every year I do this episode and after a bit of a break, and I talk about that craving to return to routine. So I have a rhythm. It's the same. It's getting up in the morning. It's breakfast. It's getting the kids out. It's, you know, I run my errands. I come home. I do my work. So I love that. And then I prep for dinner. I can't wait for that routine to come back. And yes, the routine changes day to day, but again, it's a certain rhythm that I miss. And when I don't have it, I don't know, maybe I haven't been diagnosed with something yet, but I feel very scattered. I think I just, I think I got cut off because the battery died on my camera. So here I am. I was just talking about routine and missing that. I'm looking forward to the return to it. It just makes me feel more physically organized, mentally organized. Yeah, and I think it's good for the kids too. You know, there's summer's great, but then after a while, like even they start to get a little bit bored. So we will be back. I will be back on the channel. I promise going forward, at least maybe till next summer, no super long gaps. I've really, really missed being here. I've missed sharing, and I do want to return to tutorials because I really miss teaching also. I have this space to do that, and I want to use it again. I really do. I find in seeing a lot of reels that have tutorials on Instagram, like mini tutorials, I think it's not very nice, but people tend to get really testy when they see those tutorials, and it's just a glimpse of a technique or of a way of doing something or a new increase, decrease, whatever it is. And people are like, oh, well, what's the point of that? I don't understand that. I don't, why? I need more detail. I need this, and this. And it's just, it blows me away how, what's the word? Much people want to share their knowledge, but then get that little sort of smackdown, and you're like, why bother? So I try not to even bother to put techniques like that up on Instagram, because that feedback can be crushing. So I'd rather just return here to the channel, and where I have the time and the space to really go into detail and explain things more clearly, more slowly, and hopefully share some of my knowledge and passion and excitement for knitting, making, sock knitting. Oh, another thing, last thing, and then I'm gonna go. I've also crocheted. Wait, what? I do know how to crochet, and I feel like my making started many years ago with crochet, but I discovered a crocheter. I'll talk about her later, and I love her style, I love her manner, I love her presentation, and I just decided to try a granny square the way she knit it. Wow. It's the new granny square for me. So I will talk about that some more later too. So I have no idea how long this episode is. Thank you for watching. To those of you who have stuck with me, I'm so, so grateful that you're still here. And to everybody that's new, I hope you enjoy this adventure with me and spending time with me here on the channel. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you all again really soon. Bye, everyone.